is to endure. To survive is to find meaning in that endurance. Life is inherently not easy. From birth to adulthood, each of us must face countless challenges, pain, and losses. For many people, endurance is a burden, an injustice that life places on their shoulders. But for those who are truly strong, endurance is not merely suffering, it is an inseparable part of the journey of growth. The difference between those who collapse and those who keep moving forward lies in how they perceive the challenges of life. If suffering is seen as meaningless, it will forever be a burden. But if meaning is found in suffering, it becomes the driving force that compels people to continue living, to keep moving forward. Pain is not something unfamiliar to humanity. It is an inevitable part of life, something that everyone must face at least once. But the important thing is not how to avoid pain, but how to overcome it and find value in what we have experienced. When a person loses a loved one, they can choose to drown in sorrow, or they can turn that pain into motivation to live better, to not waste the time they still have. When someone fails in their career, they can choose to give up, or they can learn from their mistakes, using failure as a launching pad for future success. It is not endurance itself that makes people strong, but rather how they confront it and find meaning within it. Looking at history, the greatest individuals are those who have endured immense pain, but did not allow it to destroy them. Nelson Mandela endured 27 years in prison before becoming a symbol of freedom and equality. During those years of suffering, he did not simply endure. He found meaning in his suffering. He understood that pain is not only something that destroys, but also something that can build if we know how to use it. Similarly, great scientists, artists, and those who have changed the world are people who have faced hardships, losses, and failures, but did not give up. What they endured became the very foundation upon which they built something greater. Endurance does not mean resignation or passively accepting fate. True endurance is understanding that pain is a part of life and, rather than letting it control us, learning from it. Every time we face difficulties, we can ask ourselves, what can this pain teach me? How can this challenge help me grow? If we only endure without seeking meaning, then pain remains nothing more than a burden. But if we learn to see it from a different perspective, we will realize that in any situation, there is always something to learn, something to use to become better. People often only appreciate light after they have experienced darkness. When standing at the peak of happiness, we may forget the days of suffering, but it is those very days of suffering that shape who we are. If we have never lost anything, how can we truly cherish what we have? If we have never failed, how can we understand the true value of success? If we have never felt pain, how can we deeply grasp the meaning of peace? Difficult experiences are not obstacles. They are the keys that help us understand ourselves and the world around us more profoundly. Pain not only teaches personal lessons, but also helps people connect with one another. Those who have suffered can better empathize with others in pain. Those who have experienced loss can comfort those who are grieving. Those who have fallen can help those who are lost find their way. Life is not just an individual journey. It is also a journey of sharing. When we find meaning in our endurance, we do not only strengthen ourselves, but also become a guiding light for others, helping them find their own paths. No one can escape suffering, but we can choose how to face it. If we view suffering as meaningless, it will bring only misery. But if we find value in it, if we turn it into a source of motivation, it will become an irreplaceable strength. Whenever we encounter hardships, instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" try asking, "What can I learn from this?" The way we perceive things determines how we move forward. Life is not a smooth road, but that is precisely what makes it worth living. Challenges, losses, and failures are not endings. They are steps leading us to rise higher. When we stop seeing pain as an obstacle, we realize that it is actually an opportunity to become the best version of ourselves. To live is to endure, but more importantly, to find meaning in that endurance, because only by doing so can we truly live rather than merely exist. He who has a reason to live can face any how. Life is full of challenges, but the important thing is not to avoid difficulties, but to find a reason to keep going. When a person has a purpose strong enough, every obstacle becomes a test of their will and perseverance. A mother can do anything for her child. A scientist can dedicate a lifetime to pursuing an invention. An athlete can endure harsh conditions to reach glory. They achieve this not because they face fewer difficulties than others, but because they have a powerful reason to move forward. On the other hand, when there is no clear goal, people easily get caught up in trivial matters, letting a single failure hold them back, allowing a single criticism to shake their spirit. A truly resilient person is not someone who never faces hardship, but someone who always finds meaning in the challenges they encounter. They do not see adversity as punishment, but as an opportunity to refine themselves. When a person has a reason strong enough to live, they will not let temporary pain defeat them, but use it as motivation to grow. Those who have survived the darkest moments share one common trait. They have a reason not to give up. Whether a prisoner of war, a patient battling illness, or someone struggling through life, they all find something important to hold on to, something worth sacrificing and persevering for. That is what helps them rise, making them stronger each day. When one has a clear goal, difficulties are no longer barriers but become the driving force that propels them forward. Not everyone finds their purpose in life immediately, but the key is to never stop searching. If you do not yet have a grand vision, start with the smallest things. What gives you a sense of meaning? What makes you willing to dedicate your time and effort? Sometimes, just one strong reason is enough to turn every challenge into motivation to move forward. When you truly discover what you want to protect, what you want to devote yourself to, you will no longer fear adversity, but will be ready to face it. A person with a reason to live does not merely exist. They know how to make each day meaningful. Ask yourself, what makes you wake up each morning with a stronger desire? What keeps you from giving up despite facing seemingly insurmountable challenges? When you find the answer, you will realize that nothing is impossible. And when a person truly knows what they are living for, no obstacle can defeat them. Hope is the worst evil because it prolongs human suffering. Hope has long been considered the light in darkness, the flame that helps people overcome adversity. But is hope truly as beautiful as we believe? When a person places all their faith in something uncertain, they may fall into an endless cycle of waiting and disappointment. Hope, if not accompanied by action, becomes a shackle that binds rather than a force that liberates. Imagine someone stuck in a terrible situation, but clinging to the hope that things will improve on their own. They do not act, they do not change, but merely wait for a miracle. Such blind hope not only wastes precious time, but also inflicts emotional pain when the expected outcome never arrives. In this case, hope is not encouragement but an illusion that prolongs misery. Hope, without a concrete plan, is not a source of strength, but a burden. When people rely solely on hope, without striving to change reality, they imprison themselves in a cycle of despair. A person who expects success but refuses to act will never achieve their goals. A person who longs for justice but does not fight for it will continue living in injustice. A person who hopes for a better life but is unwilling to work hard will only face disappointment. People often fear confronting the truth, and hope sometimes becomes a tool to escape reality. But reality does not change through mere wishing. A sick person cannot heal just by hoping. They must seek treatment. A person who fails cannot succeed by simply waiting for opportunities. They must seize them. Hope should not be something that extends waiting, but rather a flame that drives action, transformation, and the creation of one's own future. However, hope is not entirely negative. When used correctly, it can be the most powerful motivation that helps people overcome challenges. Hope only holds value when it is accompanied by the will to act and the determination to change. A person who hopes while also having a clear plan and the willingness to work hard turns that hope into a guiding light, preventing themselves from being crushed by adversity. The greatest individuals in history were not those who merely sat and hoped for good things to happen. They were the ones who turned hope into action. Nelson Mandela did not just hope for a free South Africa. He fought and endured years of imprisonment to make that hope a reality. Thomas Edison did not just hope to create the electric light bulb. He experimented thousands of times until he succeeded. Those who succeed do not place their faith solely in fate. They understand that only through action can fate be shaped to their will. Hope should not be a sedative that makes people accept their circumstances without striving for change. It should be a light that illuminates the path of action, giving people the faith to keep moving forward. If someone lives only on hope without ever taking steps to achieve their goals, they are wasting time and sinking further into failure. But if one knows how to use hope to maintain motivation, to persist, to endure, they will never be defeated. So, do not let hope become something that causes you to delay, waiting for uncertain outcomes. Let hope be the driving force that pushes you to act today. Believe in yourself, but do not just believe blindly. Turn that belief into concrete steps. Only through action does hope truly hold value. Only when we change ourselves can life become better. Water is the force that controls everything in nature. Water is one of the fundamental elements of nature, a soft entity, yet possessing immeasurable power. Water can gently flow through every crevice of a rock, tenderly embrace everything within its grasp. But it can also become a flood that drowns all, capable of eroding towering mountains over centuries. For this reason, water is not only the source of life, but also a symbol of hidden strength, adaptability, and control. Water does not resist what obstructs it, but finds a way to weave through every barrier, carving its own path. This is a crucial lesson in life. Flexibility and adaptability are more important than rigid strength. In life, there will be times when we encounter difficulties, blocked by challenges that seem insurmountable. But rather than confronting them with stubborn force, if we learn to be flexible and take advantage of the circumstances, we will find a new path forward, just like water that finds its way through massive rocks, continuing to flow forward despite countless obstacles. Nothing in nature can completely control water. Humans may build massive dams, but with just a small crack, water will find a way through, breaking all limits. This is akin to the human spirit. If we have unwavering determination, no hardship can prevent us from achieving our goals. Challenges may slow us down, but they cannot stop us entirely. Water teaches us that perseverance and resilience are the keys to overcoming all adversities. Water is also a symbol of transformation and change. It can evaporate into steam, freeze into ice, rush like a torrent, yet its essence remains unchanged. Just like humans, we may go through upheavals and major changes in life, but what matters is holding on to our core values. Change is inevitable, but if we learn to adapt without losing ourselves, we will always find the right path. Looking back at history, the greatest civilizations developed along mighty rivers. Water not only provides life, but also brings prosperity. However, it can also be destructive if not properly managed. This presents another lesson: power does not lie in its mere existence, but in how we utilize it. A talented person who lacks self-control can become destructive, while one who understands their power and wields it wisely can achieve greatness. Water also teaches us patience. A single drop, falling persistently, can carve into the hardest rock, not because it is strong, but because it is relentless. In life, success is not always achieved through grand actions. Sometimes it is the small, consistent efforts each day that lead to remarkable change. Successful people are not those who rely solely on moments of brilliance, but those who persistently advance step by step, like a river that never ceases to flow toward the ocean. Finally, water symbolizes freedom. It is not confined to a fixed shape, but changes to fit its surroundings. When placed in a glass, it takes the shape of the glass. When flowing in a river, it follows the river's course. This teaches us that true freedom is not the absence of constraints, but the ability to adapt to any circumstance while remaining true to ourselves. A free person is not someone without limitations, but someone who can thrive in any situation. So what does water want to teach us? It wants us to learn how to adapt, to be persistent, to control our own strength. It wants us to understand that no difficulty is insurmountable if we know how to find a way. It reminds us that changes in life are not something to avoid, but something we must learn to embrace and utilize. Be like water, always moving, always finding its own way, always maintaining calm, even in the midst of a storm. And above all, remember that true strength does not lie in rigidity, but in flexibility, perseverance, and the ability to adapt to every change. On the river, the water you touch is the last of what is past and the first of what is to come. The present moment is the same. Time flows like a river, never stopping. When we dip our hands into the water, the current continues to move, and the moment we touch it becomes a connection between the past and the future. This statement is not just a simple observation of nature, but a profound philosophy about life and time. We often get stuck in the past or worry about the future, forgetting that the only thing we truly have is the present moment. Living in the present does not mean denying the past or ignoring the future. It means understanding that every present moment is the intersection of what has been and what is yet to come. Every action we take now will immediately become the past, while simultaneously shaping a different future. The river of life never stops flowing, and every decision, every thought in the present moment has the power to influence the journey ahead. The past is what has happened. The memories, the mistakes, the successes, and the lessons. We can look back and learn from it, but we cannot change it. If we cling too tightly to what is past, we become like someone trying to grasp water in their hands, only to see it slip away. The key is not to hold on to the past, but to let it flow naturally as part of the river of life. The future, on the other hand, is yet to come. We can plan, we can dream, but we cannot fully control it. Like water flowing forward, we do not know what paths it will take or what challenges it will encounter. However, what we can do is prepare ourselves, cultivate our minds, and strengthen our spirits to be ready for whatever lies ahead. When we understand that the future is not something to fear, but a natural continuation of life's flow, we will worry less and live more fully in the present. Many people remain trapped between the past and the future. They either regret what has already happened or fear what is yet to come, forgetting that every passing moment is an opportunity to live. If we fail to appreciate the present, we will forever chase the shadow of life without ever truly living. A river can only keep flowing when water is not held back, just as people can only grow when they learn to let go and move forward. Change is inevitable, and just as water never stands still, life is always in motion. Some days the river flows gently, while on others it becomes turbulent. Yet no matter what, it keeps moving forward. Similarly, life has its ups and downs, its challenges, but we cannot stop or turn back. The only thing we can do is learn to adapt and keep going. Many fear change, wanting to cling to what is familiar, seeking stability. But just like a river, if water stops flowing, it becomes stagnant. A person who refuses to grow, learn, or change will remain stuck in the same place. Instead of fearing change, we should embrace it as a fundamental part of life. Living in the present does not mean being careless or thoughtless. It means understanding that the most important thing is what we do right now. We cannot control everything, but we can control our own actions. When we make the most of each moment, we build a past worth remembering and a future that is strong and secure. If we live fully today, we will have no regrets tomorrow. The river of life never stops flowing, and every present moment is the intersection of what has passed and what is to come. When we understand this, we will no longer be overly concerned with things beyond our control. Instead, we will focus on making the best of the present, cherishing each moment, and living a life without regrets. Life is an endless flow, and every passing moment is a part of that journey. We cannot turn back time to fix what is past, nor can we predict what the future will bring. But in this very moment, we can choose how to live, how to enjoy, and how to create value for ourselves. Time waits for no one. If we keep clinging to old memories or fearing what lies ahead, we will let the present slip away unconsciously. Happiness is not something distant, but exists in the smallest actions: a smile, an effort, a moment of stillness amidst the chaos of life. When we realize that each passing day is an opportunity to live better, to love more, to grow stronger, we will no longer waste time on things that do not matter. Many great thinkers have also emphasized the power of the present. Eckhart Tolle once said, "The present moment is all you have. Make it the center of your life." Just like a river that never flows backward, we can only move forward when we learn to let go of what is past and stop worrying about what is yet to come. The only thing we can do is make the most of every moment, living with fullness and meaning. So do not wait for the perfect moment. Do not postpone your dreams. Do not waste time on meaningless regrets. Act now, cherish what you have, and live a life that, when you look back, you can be proud that you lived fully without missing a single moment.